If you're in the market for a diode laser, this should be the only unit you consider from this point forward. This year, I'm just not going to be doing as many review videos. I never wanted this channel to be a review channel, and I don't like not having the freedom to do what I want. So I probably won't be doing too many more diode laser reviews on the channel, but I am happy to say that this one in particular, I am super stoked about. If I was going to pick one diode laser to finish up doing reviews with, it would definitely be this one. You guys got to check this out. Oh no, can you see me? Can you see me? The owner of the company that created this laser basically went to a bunch of forums and different laser engraving creators and said, what do you not like about the lasers you're using now? And I can honestly say that this guy right here takes care of almost every one of these problems. This diode laser machine is superior to every other diode laser machine I have used to date in every way. So let's check it out. Let's talk about why. Mainly though, I'm gonna tell you, it's because the guy that designed it listened to the guys that use it. It's not that difficult. Today we're gonna be taking a look at the LaserMatic Mk2 by Roly. And I'm telling you guys, this machine right here, it's the bee's fucking knees. If you're doing your research, I'm sure you've looked at a lot of different diode lasers. This one solves all of your problems, and it's constructed better than probably 90% of the diode lasers I've worked with to date. Like I said, every once in a while, the designer and the user get together and they make beautiful things together, beautiful babies, if you will. Consider this one of those babies. So first things first, just the fact that it's enclosed. Now that we have enclosed diode lasers, there's just not a whole lot of argument for diode lasers that are not enclosed anymore. This is just safer. I'm pretty sure that anybody that's putting any money into development of diode machines going forward is going to have something like this. It's going to be enclosed. We've had diode lasers on rails for a long time. We built our own enclosures. People offered enclosures. This just makes more sense. You want to be able to see your material. You want to be able to see what you're working on, but you don't have to wear, you know, those really cool shades, right? Also, having small children. And if you have people that just come in and out of the shop, I'm always concerned about my children's eyes when I have something like this running, because as much as you tell them not to look at it, they will stare right at the damn thing. So, enclosure, chef's kiss. This whole video is gonna be a love letter to this machine. I do have a few things about this machine that I don't like, and I will point those out a little bit later. But the majority of this, when I was putting together, which takes 10 minutes, the majority of it was just like these little great discoveries. Like, wow, they did this. Wow, we've wanted this forever. Wow, why doesn't every other company do this? All right, so let's talk about assembly. This is your assembly instructions. How awesome is that? You need to take out some screws that they put in there just for shipping purposes. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 screws. You got to take 10 screws out and you're up and running. Oh, and you've got to run the air assist tube out the back. But check this out. The air assist is attached to the gantry. It has its own cabling that runs out the back, and it's got its own designated hole to go out the back. And then it comes over to your air compressor. What? So you don't just have this stupid tube sticking up in the middle of everything. What? Amazing, amazing. Who thought of this? What What marvel of engineering did this take to figure out that you could attach this little tube to the gantry and get it out of everybody's way? Okay, so I turned it off for a minute because when you turn it on, not only does it turn the fan on the actual laser unit, but it actually turns on an exhaust fan in the back of the enclosure. Like, what? Oh my goodness. But just so you can hear me a little bit better, I'm gonna turn it off for the time being. What I'm about to show you is the first thing that I noticed when putting this together that makes this machine superior to every other diode laser machine out there. This right here. Look at how well constructed this wiring harness is. Look at that. It's so nice. It's very easy to pull in and out. You don't have to grab it by the actual wires. And I know that seems like a dumb little thing, but just hold on. Up until this point, if I can get it to focus, that is what we've had to deal with up until now. All of these wires that are kind of just precariously put into this harness. This harness is very flimsy. It's difficult to pull out. You've got to pop this off. It clips into this harness right here, and it's just a pain to deal with. And then you've got all of these exposed wires that are right here up on the back of the unit. They get caught on everything. On top of that, a lot of people can't get their fingers around this thing, so they end up pulling on the wires to get it out. And guess what? These wires break really easy. Look at these wires. One, they're thicker material. Look at how much I can grab onto this to pull it out. And I can't tell you how snugly that fits in there and how much, like even the color coding of it, the yellow to the gray, I know when it's plugged in. And the fact that this is already set up for you is going to just save you a lot of time. A lot of people that want to get into laser engraving aren't necessarily super technical people or are really good about assembling the machine. They just want to use the machine, right? Like, I don't want you to send me a printer that I have to assemble. I just want to print the things on it. You don't have to worry about squaring your frame. Everything has already been taken care of for you. On top of that, everything so far is it's hardcore, man. Everything feels solid. It feels well machined. Everything moves so buttery smooth. It's unbelievable. I'm sorry, but I told you this is going to be a love letter to this machine. I'm not kidding. I made the decision last year to either not review as many or just kind of stop reviewing diode lasers altogether. However, I had heard such good things about this machine that when they reached out, I said yes, immediately said yes. Send me one of those. I have to see it for myself. And so far, I am more than satisfied. See this little nubbin right here? So what that is and there's one over here. There's a nubbin right there. And there's another nubbin right here. And what that does is it corresponds to the holes on the back of the honeycomb. So check this out. First off, you've got 0 centimeters on one corner. You have 0 inches on the other corner. So we're gonna put this in for inches. You slide it in. You set it on those little nubbins, and now this doesn't move, which means for like the first time ever on a diode laser, you can use absolute coordinates because you know always where your 0 is. So this guy comes in a 10 watts, 20 watt, and I believe a 30 watt variety. I have the 20 watt, but what's nice about the 20 watt is that on the side, I don't know how well you can see that. We'll zoom in on it here in a second if we can. But basically, if the switch is up, it's 20 watt. If it's down, it's 10 watt. Also, to adjust this up and down is this great just thumb screw. Look at how easy that works. Now, while we're here, we'll talk about my first con of the machine. So this is your focusing gauge or your focusing billet. I don't know how well you can see that. So this is what you put under the device, and then you're gonna lower, here, let's move you down here a little bit. Hopefully you can see that. And then you just lower down until you're touching the billet, and then you're gonna pull it out of there. I like this billet, and I don't at the same point in time. I like it because it has, it's telling you what to do here. So for engraving and cutting up to 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch, use this one, then 6 millimeters and 10 millimeters. What I don't like about this is it's not attached to anything. So it doesn't necessarily, I don't really care that it doesn't have to be like a kickstand like on the X tool or anything like that, but I would like a storage spot for it. If there is a storage spot, I don't know where it is, but it'd be nice if this was just magnetic and could stick to the device, or if it had a little place to live on the side, or like a pocket on the front or something. So this is like pro con number 2. Finally, somebody has gotten the idea to move the power and everything to the back of the machine. But the issue I run into is that this is the cord for your computer that goes to your computer. Actually, this is the cord for the camera. Then you've got your cord for your computer that's on the front of the machine. So that's a little weird. Those are always going to go to the same place, so why not put that back here? And then the fact that the power and the air is on this side makes it so you have to work on this side of the machine. Like this cord is not long enough. I mean, this cord is that. So, which means that this has to be right here or right behind it. This needs to be longer, Roly. This cord needs to be a lot longer, because I need to be able to set this down to where you can't see it if I want to, or on the other side of the machine. The power cord's fine here, but honestly, most of these you're going to plug in and you're going to forget it, so I don't see any reason to not have the power cord come off the back. So they have done LEDs all the way around this booger. Like you can see every nook and cranny inside this machine. Bonkers. You guys probably know that I'm not a huge fan of having a camera, but it is integrated into the machine, so it is a very nice to have if you want it type thing. Look at it, it's just pretty. It's just very aesthetically pleasing to look at. And I will say, that is one thing that X-Tool is really good at, and it's making their machines look pretty. Speaking of X-Tool, this runs on Lightburn. One of the other things I think you're gonna start seeing phased out, or should be phased out, is proprietary software when it comes to laser engravers. If everybody is stuck to Lightburn, a lot of issues would not be had. Beautiful, beautiful girl. One of the cool things is that, you guys know Rich, Louisiana Howie guy, he donated or created a material settings library. I think it's for the 10 watt, but it comes with the machine, and you just need to load it into Lightburn, and you will have his library of settings for 10 watt materials and things like that. Not only is the creator of the laser listening to us, but also working with us. What a great idea! So now that I have professed my love for this machine, let's kick the tires a little bit. Also, and I'm sorry I bled on this a little bit, but this comes with the machine. This was already done. I did not cut this out. I believe this was cut on this machine just to show you settings. Yeah, it was, because it says tested by, and it's signed. Okay, I think this is cherry. Cherry. And then I'm just gonna pull my logo over and try to engrave my logo and cut it out. All right, how's that look? It looks pretty good. That took about 3.5, almost 4 minutes, but I like it. Say hello to Chuck, kids. Hello, Chuck. And I'm pretty excited for the Rotary, because this seems like a really good rotary machine. Part of that is because, and this is just one of those things that you wish every other laser company would do, right? See these little nubbins? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Let's see. Switch over here. See these little nubbins? This guy right there, that guy, and that guy? Those guys allow you to place the Rotary in the same place every time. So one of the big issues people have a lot of times with the Rotary is they don't get it straight in the machine, and so their engraving is off. This fixes that. Ooh! Woo! Okay, so this guy just fits down on these little dowels is what it calls it. I call them nubbins. And now it won't move. Now, I'll try to turn it around. I don't know if you can see down here. This is not ideal. This is where it plugs in. So the rotary plugs into the board that's right here. Unfortunately, it's under this control arm. And then you got the little thin connector. So like once I plug this in here, also this is like 4-pin and the other one's 5-pin. I didn't realize that. I thought they were the same. Okay, so 4-pin in there. See, to get that out, it's gonna be a pain. So this thing rotates. Your connection's down here, which is super inconvenient. At least this thing rotates so I can bring it up. I don't have to try to stick my fingers under there. You can bring it down and lock this in. Once it's locked in, and this is on its pins. Now that it's on its pins, we should be good to go. Let's see how the old rotary works. Because ideally, so what I would like is to have this set up more often, because I don't do so much with diodes anymore. Use this for any tumblers that I need to do. And so if I can keep this in this current configuration and it works well, then this will just be my tumbler machine. What do you think? I think that is fantastic. What do you think? I think you think it's fantastic too. If I could drill it a little. So this is kind of cool. You can flip this up on its end so you can get it hooked into the rotary correctly, and then turn these guys and flip it down. Like that. What I would really like to see, aside from this being a different kind of connection, is for it to be longer, because it starts to pull on itself when it starts to flip out too far. So I set up everything except the speed and power. So I'm gonna let that run, and then I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna do it again on the other side, setting the correct speed and power. Frère Jacques, Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous. Sometimes I'm an idiot, sometimes I'm an idiot. Let's do it again, let's do it again. I shot the sheriff, but I did not set my laser right. Okay, so it turns out 4th time's a charm. How's that look? But let me be clear, none of these issues were because of the laser. They're because I don't do a whole lot of tumblers, etc., etc., and just some other stuff. Like I said, this first one, I was more concerned with setting up the actual machine, and I didn't set my speed and power. Kind of second and third one were the same issue. I didn't set the rotary right. I thought I had it, I almost said spunt. I thought I had it spinned. I thought I had spun it to the right location. I had not, so those are just like oopsies. Now this one was settings that came with the machine, and this is a perfect example of why you don't listen to anybody else's settings. You always do a speed and power grid. Now I didn't do a speed and power grid today because I didn't really want to, I'm not actually going to be doing these kind of tumblers. So I made an educated guess. Basically, I just lowered my speed by about 2,000 millimeters per minute. Looking at this, I would still do a full speed and power grid to get best results, because while this is probably the best result I've pulled, it could be better. Which is why we always say speed and power grid, speed and power grid, speed and power grid. All right, one thing I don't think I went over is this does have a pass-through on it. This portion of the enclosure, you can unscrew and take this off on the front and the back. So you can run longer materials through here. This is basically about 16 inches wide, and so is the back. So anything 16 inches wide or narrower will slide through. You can, of course, take the bottom off if you want to do something that won't fit inside the machine. This is still by far my favorite Diode Laser machine to date. We've gone over pros, we've gone over cons. I would say the machine is probably a 95 out of 100. It's got a little room for improvement. I'm sure some of you guys are gonna wanna know how much the machine is. I'm looking at the 20 watts laser unit with the chuck rotary is $1,299, so $1,300. That's everything. So it comes with everything. You don't have to pay extra for the exhaust. You don't have to pay extra for the honeycomb. You don't have to pay extra for the air assist, the camera. All of that stuff's included. So if you're looking at a cheaper unit, take those things into consideration. All of those items are going to be things that you're probably going to want in the future, and they add up. Plus the fact that this is already enclosed, you don't have to look at an enclosure, and it's a solid enclosure. Look at it, it looks so good. You can see everything from every angle. It's just sexy as hell. This gets the build that build 2 thumbs of approval. I don't know if that's a thing. But if you're in the market for a diode laser machine, this is the only thing you should be considering at this point.